Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Your Soul Wisdom. And what I love about today's episode, it actually made Kylie go, fuck yes. And so today is all about no longer trying hard and how trying hard is actually overrated. And it's time to do things differently. Kylie,
Yes.
what about this makes you go, fuck yes?
Oh my God, you're all doing too much. Too much. Okay, I too was one of those people. Okay. I will admit I will throw myself under the bus. Okay. I was collecting moon water. Had the crystals in the bra. I had to sit down on December 31st and go, fuck, where's my magazines? I need to do a stupid vision board. Right? I used to be one of those. And now I got to the point where it's a little bit bullshit. I've said this before. We get to rely on our own self. How are we showing up every day? And that's the end of the podcast. So thanks for coming by.
It's so interesting how Kylie's taken it, because I've taken it in such a different way, our heading. I didn't even think about any of that spiritual stuff.
Well, let me ask you. Yeah. Well, of course, brain goes to spiritual because we're spiritual podcasts, right?
I know what our podcast about.
But let me ask you this. You hear plenty of people, even young people who, they have all these gifts. And then for a certain period of time, whether it's 10, 20, 30 years, all those gifts get shut down. Mm-hmm. And then they reemerge, later on. Mm-hmm. So you being in this space of it's bullshit. I'm no longer doing the moon water. I'm done with the crystals for right now. Like it's all whatever. Do you think it is just because you're in a period of time where now you're dipping more into reality as opposed to spirituality and all those rituals? Or do you actually think in your heart that it is just hooey?
Okay, are you ready for a very rare ego moment?
Yes.
I'm above it.
Always.
I'm above it. And this is why I say that. And I'm owning this. Amanda, you can be proud for a minute. You know what? Okay, I'm not going to get fired up, okay? If you show up in your authenticity, in your honest, to God opinions and embody everything that is yourself, right? Unapologetically you. And you're not hurting anyone. Do I eat organic? Maybe 50% of the day, but I'm doing my best. And if my intentions are there to do my best, everything else will just slide in where it's meant to be.
Well, I think there is, Yana, I think like you said, there is a period of time where people do rely on those things. And I know I definitely was one of those. I'd take off my bra, all my crystals would drop out. Like I've broken a couple. That's not good. But I don't think it's unusual for people earlier on in their journey to really sink in, I've got an altar, I've got wind chimes, I've got tuning forks, I've got all the things. I barely use them anymore, but they're still there now available to me if I want to use them. I think it does get people into a bit of a rhythm to get them back to themselves. Sometimes it may be a necessary part of the journey, but I think it's when you rely on them and everything, like you're maybe, you have to pull a tarot card out about everything, or you have to consult your guides about everything. I mean, then we're getting a little bit, caught up.
Okay, so let me offer my perspective because I'm all in or I'm all out. That's who I am. Okay, and so also because I have karmic sixes, I am all over the place. So I don't commit fully all the way unless I'm really, really into something. So with that said, I've had moments where I've gone all in and I've said, the Tasha Silver prayer every moment that it came to my mind, with gratitude and whatever. And I've done the thing where I've, written the things I want to manifest and put them in the dirt for them to grow, all those things. I've done all that. And I've actually gotten great results. But then I find myself like currently I'm a bit of a Kylie where I'm in that space where I'm like, I don't know, is anything real? It's almost like my spiritual midlife crisis is almost what it feels like.
Mhm.
But it's like one of those where like I'm like, well, I don't do it in my everyday life. And also my life has been always redirecting me to where I need to go or directing me to where I
Yep.
need to go. And so do I really need to actively do anything above and beyond what I'm already doing anyway?
No, I don't
So
think you do. I actually don't think
Yeah.
you do. I think it's comfort. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay,
Yeah, and like,
but
yeah.
is it an advantage? Is it an extra bonus when you are actually set? Because we hear energy flows where attention goes. That can't just be hooey.
Well, that's true though. That is true.
Yeah,
Right.
that is
you
true.
you
but
can focus on something without using a crystal. Sorry, Amanda.
Oh,
yeah,
sure,
no.
of
But
course.
Yeah.
yeah, but I think though that's the shift, isn't it? That's the shift. I think we're doing all of these things because what we're really looking for is about bringing ourselves into alignment with something. And sometimes we need those tools. Sometimes we need all those, material, practical things in order to help us to do that. And that's why they're called tools. And once you're able to make that shift, then it's almost like you no longer need it. So sometimes it seems like in the beginning you could be quite intense about certain practices and things like that, but it's simply because you're bringing yourself into alignment. And once that happens, then it's like how probably like where you are, whereby there is no division between, say, reality and spirituality. You know what I mean? They all blend and it becomes one, and that's how you're
Integrated.
moving. That's when integrated, and then you're in the flow. And so it is all about me and what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and how I am bringing things together. But you do have moments whereby, your frequency can drop, it can fall. And sometimes it's in those moments whereby, it's okay. I think you don't have to be hard on yourself if you do pick up certain tools in order to, what that tells you is where you're at. And I am looking to realign myself. I'm looking to simply align myself with that which I am wanting. I'm looking to become that. And in order to do that, this is what I feel that I need to do. I need that little help to raise my frequency, to place me in place. And once that's done, the world's your oyster.
Look, I'm also Team Amanda in a lot of ways. And, I feel like we've talked about this before in different ways with, a process that's called the grids, for instance. And I know Amanda's talked about how she did this process so many times that it got to the stage where she only needed to say the word grids. They kind of feel like training wheels to me. Like you wouldn't make fun
Bumper
of a kid
bowling.
using training wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And it's just like, yeah, it's great when you don't need them, but there's no shame in using them, kind of thing. Man, as I said, when I read the title, I just thought it was so different since I'm sitting here with shingles and I'm like, yeah, obviously I've been trying too hard kind of stuff. I never thought of it in this spiritual sort of practicey kind of way. I was thinking about it as in, trying to be the best person you possibly can be every second of the day. That's what I was thinking is overrated. And I don't know if it is or not, just by the way, but that's where I thought we were going with this conversation.
But it's all of it. It's all of it. It could be using the tools. It could be, saying your affirmations. It could be everything above and beyond your everyday routine or speech or things that you do. Right. And so there's in social media, I've done really well to stay off of it for quite a while. But like every once in a while, I'll see somebody who will write something like, we're entering a stage or a phase or a period where you no longer need to do the thing. It's just these quick manifestations.
Yeah.
Okay. How does everybody? Okay. So everyone,
I think
you guys are in agreement with that?
I think you need to be at a certain level to do that. I don't think you can just click your fingers and arrive there necessarily. But I do agree. I think that the energy is shifting. I think so. It's the paradigm, right? The paradigm is changing. I definitely think that. But I'm not sure. There's going to be different levels within that, I guess.
I certainly have a felt sense of an experience of what you're talking about, what you just mentioned then. But honestly, what comes up for me is if I wasn't the age I was or had done the work I was or something like that, I wouldn't notice those things for those synchronicities. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't experience them like I don't know whether it's me just experiencing things differently or whether things are being different. Do you know what I mean? It's impossible to tell. So, but yeah, I wouldn't even have been open to any concept of like magic, let's say, 5 years ago. So it wouldn't have shown up to me like that.
It's true.
Look, so I've started diving into a new set of sort of like alchemy tools, and I just literally I want to see how they work. I want to see what kind of energy and quality that they bring to, say, my work more, or even to people that I'm working with, because like I said, sometimes people do need to have that tool before they step into the all of it. And to be quite honest with you, I am very aware of how, and it is funny, it is like how Kylie was saying, I'm very aware though of how these things can really become a crutch. I'm aware of it. Do you know what I mean? And that feeling of, well, if I don't have it with me, oh my God, I've left it at home, it's not in my handbag, is it not going to work? But I'm also very much aware of the fact that, well, before I had them, things were great, things were fine. So, but what I like though is I think it's the vibration, it's the energy of it, it's the flow, and it's also kind of like, in a way for me, information that it brings me. And that's what it is. And so I'm very, very interested in that. And I'm not going to stop being interested in that in order to say, well, I don't have a crutch. I don't have a crutch. But do I want to buy more rods? Absolutely. Do I want to know what the whole Stargate thing is when you can buy a Stargate, or when you can buy these other different installations that goes with it? Absolutely. Because who wouldn't want to have a Stargate? But
I don't even know what a Stargate is. I feel like we're in episode 1 and I'm like, tell me what the timeline is. I'm like,
Right.
So I've gone real woo-woo. But
like, it sounds great.
Yeah, it's so, yeah. But look, what I'm saying is that, I mean, like, I've shown you guys what they look like before, but what I'm saying is that I've always been involved in magic, so I like all these different kinds of things, and I like understanding the frequency and of why this works and how it works, and how fluid it is. So guess I'm always going to be dabbling, whether I need it or not. I think I'm always going to be dabbling.
Yeah, I think it's more when you're trying so hard, then you're missing the simple things. Do you know what I mean? Or missing the parts that, like, let's just say we're talking about spirituality for the minute. And Rachel, I think we should talk about what you brought up. But, if you're so focused on the tools, maybe you're missing messages that you're getting yourself. I had a private channeling session with Paul Selig, who's written a number of books. He channels, I believe they're called the guides. And in the session, he was talking to my guides, and my guides were like, they're rolling their eyes at you. You just try too hard. You just try too hard, and you're missing things, right? So it can create a lot of noise. It's really about anchoring into our energy, and then using tools or whatever it is to make that better. What's a good word for that?
Improve.
Enhance
that, right? Yeah. So you are the base of it all, and everything else enhances it.
But have you not felt at the end of sometimes of a session like you need a good, like you need a good bong, not a bonk. I mean, like a good.
Kind of.
Listen, you said bong.
Yeah,
my head went to bang.
I went to
and
bong. I was like, okay. You would have needed a whole bowl after me, but that's okay.
Yeah, you want to move the energy. It might be jumping up and down. It might be hitting something that makes a noise, whatever it is. Absolutely. But there's a place for all of it. But it's when it takes center stage of everything that it becomes an issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Issue. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I need to have a very honest moment right now, and I don't know if I've shared it with anybody. But after we had our call or our episode where Kylie said, I don't believe in anything. It's just me. I'm doing it all. No higher self. Me. It's just all me. It's all one. It's just me. Okay. And I'm somebody who takes in information and then I filter in what works for me or not. So I remember afterwards going, okay, let me just see how that feels. I'm never closed off to anything. And so the very next day, I had received a huge opportunity for work. And shortly after, I went to my mom's house, and I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my mom, and I'm sharing this opportunity with my mom. And she said, you know what, Yana, make sure you thank God. Like, God did this for you, blah, 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 right? And that was very much, hold on, in my Kylie energy. And I was like, well, you know what? I actually went out and I did the work. If I didn't go out to do the work, I wouldn't have received this opportunity. And she goes, yeah, but it's not all you, right? So we're going back and forth. And here I am, like, my whole life, no, Kylie, no, wait, Kylie, you don't know where this is going to go. And my whole life, I've had huge faith in source, creator, God, whatever word, universe you want to use. And so in that ego moment, I sat there going, well, I did the work. So I made this opportunity happen. It wasn't even an hour later, I get a call from the top guy of that business. And he says to me, you know what? We need to hold on. I think some decisions were made. You know, we just need to hold off on the whole thing. And my heart sank to my stomach. And I thought, I was just devastated, right? So the next day, I literally had a moment where I said, okay, actually, I shared a little bit of this where I said, I was hearing at night, ask and it shall be given.
Mm-hmm.
Ask and I'm not an asker. And so I asked, and the very next day, because I asked source for help or for guidance or for whatever, receiving, that opportunity came back to me full force. And so in that moment for me, it was very much like, oh, there is something else. It's not all me. There is this dual relationship, this co-mingling of something else also taking place that wanted me to understand and know that it's not just you. There was something else.
Boy,
And
oh
so,
boy. How deep down this rabbit hole do you want to go?
well, let's go.
Well, I just want to
Let's
also
go.
introduce just quickly the flip side of that, which would mean logically that if something didn't go your way, that is also source. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't have it. You can't say that it's source when it's only good things. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like it's yeah. So
100%.
that's the only thing. So it has to
100%.
encompass the whole lot. Anyway, go on.
Of course, it's just clearly there's no coincidences. And as I'm sitting there being like, I, then something went, well, not just you. And we need
Tell me,
you
how
to
are you
know.
feeling? Tell me, what were the feels when you were in that I kind of thing? Like, how are you actually feeling?
Of course, there's that pride and that ego that's there, that's present 100%. And it was
Why
one
does
of
it have to be
those,
ego? Why does it have to be ego?
because that's the word that we use, right? That's the word that everybody relates to, that kind of energy.
Yeah, we need to change that.
It very much felt a bit self-righteous. Not that it was right or wrong, but to me, it felt like, are you crossing a boundary? How does this feel? And so I'm just going to go with how things feel and tweak and adjust as needed, right? That's how my whole life is.
I'm interested in what it would have been like, or what your experience would have been like, and if the lesson would have been the same if, when you were owning it as your own work, you were owning it as in, I am so grateful that I am the kind of person who will persist. I am so grateful that I am the kind of person that has a really strong work ethic. I'm so grateful for everything that I've done in my career that can enable me to go in and do these things. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you can still own it.
No, let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because I've always had that strong connection to source.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time that I went and I said, it was fully just me.
Okay.
And that's
So
why it's so obvious to me what was happening.
So I think, though, that we have to mark it here in the sense of making a huge distinction between source and God.
Fine.
Source does not need and doesn't actually care about co-creating. God does. God needs that acknowledgement.
Can
They're
we
two
just tell the
different
cheap
beings.
sheets the difference between God and source? Because I thought they were
Two
the same
different
thing.
beings.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it's two different energetic things. And I think the more and more and more that we do this work, the more and more that we have these discussions, I am really coming to understand that. I don't understand all of it, but I do know that there is a difference there. And I know we throw around the words because we use the words all together, just like how we'll say spirit and soul. Do you know what I mean? But I do think that source is something completely different to God.
I
Source
agree with
doesn't
you.
need us to pray to it. Source doesn't need us to walk into a building and to get together with other people to praise it. Source doesn't need any of that. Source is just sourcing. Source is just being. Source is just doing. God, on the other hand, there are gods, and there's a difference.
Right.
And we're not actually seeing that. We're not actually recognizing the fact that there are gods. There's a plural to that. So the gods are not source. They are a part of source. They are a expression of source. And we probably call them gods because they have much more than what we have or what we believe that we have. And so I think what's happened here with you, Yana, is the fact that in your co-creating with the gods, and because of where maybe that sort of blurred line is, it's probably some god has got pissed and said, well, listen, I had a part to play in this. Do you know what I mean? So I need acknowledgement for that. So, and I'm going to show you. Do you see what I'm saying? So that is also like a self-fulfilling prophecy as well.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
So
this is show you that we're here and you need to acknowledge, and we need the accolade. Because let me tell you something. Can I just throw this in? Source is not, say like how, like people who follow the Bible, source is not going to be telling anybody, any being, that you cannot worship any other false idols or any other whatever but me. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, but the Bible was written by man anyway. Like it's
the Bible, right? But the Bible has. But when you look at all the different things that's happened within the Bible, let's just say, the tablets and the burning bush and all of those different types of things, those were other people not recognizing, and people are not being told, or it's not being preached or told. The truth of the matter is that these gods, some of these gods are actually alien beings. They're other races of beings that have powers or ways of doing things or moving or being that we as general humans don't have. So what do? We call them gods. And so then everybody confuses that with the ultimate or with the source. Do you see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I don't know, sometimes when I say that, I'm not giving away my power. I'm not. I can go to a place where I can say, well, yeah, okay, we co-created this together, but I'm not giving away my power because we're taught that, and we're taught the ego thing of it, that you can't claim anything because, well, do you know what? You are really not able to do that. So where do you go? You stay where you are, and you'll come back in another 600 times, just staying where you are, doing that same thing and supplicating all the time. I can't, not anymore. And there's been that shift for me.
Sorry. Okay, so I have two things I want to say. One is, I absolutely agree with you, and I have felt for a long time that it's not just God who's a creator and that's it. That to me doesn't make sense. I've always felt that there's multiple, and then I think, well, then who created God, and then who created God, and then who created, it's.
And I kind of got that from you as well. It was you that kind of.
And here's the thing, yeah, and I don't know where it ends or begins. So for me, when I say the word God, to me, it's my creator. Okay, because that's just the word that I'm using. Okay. The second thing is, do you think it's really as simple as that God that I co-created with going, oh, well, I'm present and I want to show you?
Well, that's how it showed up. But can I just go back a bit on what you just said? When you said you think of God as your creator, do you know there is a
no? It's just the word I use. It's the word that I use.
Okay.
For source, for creator, source, creator, and God to me are all the same.
There's
they're all the same. They're all the same. However, I do understand how they're right. I do understand that, but for lack of better terms, if you will, It's the word that everybody essentially knows and uses for their creator, right? The source of everything. Which again, that even to me seems like, okay, well, I don't know. Anyway, we're digressing. But
it's interesting.
I don't know. It was
Do you know I went somewhere today, and I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that, but I went somewhere today where somebody who is like deeply, deeply ill. And in being there today, they talked a lot about God and about giving everything to God and for where they are now, for all the different things that have happened, for the betterment. It was all God this, God that. It was God. And I stood there in the place, and I thought to myself, and where are you amongst all of this? Because something's actually happening to you. Where are you? Where is all the alignment that you've done, that you're doing? There was no acknowledgement of that whatsoever. And so for me, from the flip side of that, I think to myself, then don't you think of yourself as like, well, then why would this happen to me? Why am I being treated like a puppet? And they are deeply ill. They're on the mend, but they believe that that's God. It's nothing to do with them. It's nothing to do with what they've been doing. It's nothing to do with any of the sort of like treatments that they've been doing or anything like that. It's all down to God and being highly favored.
Did God make them sick then?
That didn't come into question, and I couldn't say that. I
does.
couldn't
This
ask.
is the thing. I just don't see how people take it with one and not the other. Like I can totally appreciate it if people give their lives over to God, and I get that. But this whole thing of like, when it's a miracle, it's a God, but when it's an illness, it's something I've done, just doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway.
My life.
Have we digressed?
We have so digressed.
Kylie, I noticed that, Kylie.
What did Kylie just say? What did Kylie just say?
What
Her
God
light
are you
went out.
talking to, Rachel, that sent over electricity turn off?
Some darkness.
So listen, I do want to clarify, I think, my stance a little bit, because I did come in very black and white, but there are many
So not
levels
like you,
of grey.
Kylie.
I know, absolutely. There is a lot of gratitude going on behind the scenes. Like I will acknowledge where I'm at maybe 20 times a day, like easily. And I think it's really easy to go, you know what, I did an awesome job with this, or acknowledge something, or wow, look at how far I've come on this, right? And that gives me that power back internally, that constant check-in, that gauging where I'm at, how am I feeling? Am I feeling good? Okay, am I having a physical illness? Like, I am constantly checking in with myself every day, and I'm holding myself accountable as much as I can, right? So that is my reason why I stand behind that. I don't need that external validation. I will consult with my higher self, of course, because at least that's 1 foot in me, 1 foot out, right? But it's still mine. But I'm not, I'm just not there anymore. Look, and this could be very much a phase where I might go back to this tomorrow and be like back in the God bucket or back in the universal source bucket. But for me, universal source absolutely does not give a shit what you're doing. It's just matching where you're at, and you don't have to keep asking it or keep thanking it. It doesn't give a shit. But if you're in alignment and you happen to receive that and you're on the wave of universal source, and yeah, you know what? Cool. I love that. Thanks. Thanks for that. Thanks for the little boost. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that's showing up. I'm the one that's making the choices, good or bad. I'm the one who gets to own the results of the good or bad choices. And that's just how I run my day now.
Just to clarify that, for, I guess, maybe I can, for people listening. I guess what you're saying is that, Kylie, is that, and like I was saying, source doesn't need the gratitude, but what the gratitude does for you is that it puts you in a frequency.
The right frequency.
puts you in the right frequency for you to align with that which you're wanting. And that's why there's been all this stuff throughout the years about being in a place of like gratitude or doing your gratitude journal and and all of those different types of things, because it on the spectrum, it carries a much higher frequency of creating. And so it moves you up the scale in terms of where you are wanting to be or what it is you are wanting to attract. But I think this is a really quite a deep subject. I think it's huge. I think it's quite big because it's like, you know, it's almost like where do you begin or end and the rest begin or end?
Well, but that's the thing. I don't actually think much about any of this in my day-to-day. To me, I'm constantly sensing, adjusting, checking in, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know, right in the beginning when I sort of started spiritual work, I'm like, I don't know who my guides are. I don't know what their names are. I don't know what they look like. I started sensing colors and things. But for me, it's never been like, I was making it too complicated. Right. And if I actually just went with my natural rhythm of receiving information and whatever else, things turned out for me. But by needing to know, you know, spending time meditating, trying to find out my guide's name, whatever, it wasn't the path that I needed to get there. So, I mean, I actually don't think much about any of these things like gods or source do you know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like I'm in flow with the energy, but I haven't really named it or thought about it very much, to be fair.
Okay,
I want to ask Kylie a question before we go too far off the subject. You know, Kylie, do you have the sensation when you have sort of changed your perspective reasonably recently that what you're connecting to is different versions of yourself, but it is all you? Like, I know I've talked about this kind of thing before, but I wonder if you can relate to that now. And it's almost like you're a hologram of you that's entirely you, but that's actually where you're operating from.
Look, it could very well be. I have not thought about it, and I still don't know if 100% on the ball with the whole timeline situation. I'm still, jury's still out on that.
Okay.
Still. I know. Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't have anything else profound to say.
Sorry, Anna.
That's it.
Well,
Tank's
no.
empty.
Good question.
I was just thinking, if we sit in the space of things are predestined, then does it really matter how hard we try to do something? If it's meant for us, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, but it's how it's going to happen.
This is the thing, like everybody agrees, whichever way it goes, whether the events are predestined or not, your reactions to it aren't. Do you know what I mean? So it will directly impact the experience of your life. Do you know what I mean? So if you want to put in some work so that you have a greater chance of having a more grateful experience, and I think it's worth it. Whether it's free will or not, you definitely have an emotional reaction that is human and in the moment is where my belief.
Rachel, can you call back whatever you've sent over to me, because I don't have dowsing rods. I have a dowsing light now that's just turning off every time you talk now.
Okay. I call all of my energy impact power back to me now.
I don't know. Like, now I've got a bug. Like, maybe I just need to clear my energy or something.
I do feel this has got a touch of douse, but like I don't understand how this is my fault.
Kylie, the gods are pissed for you.
Oh my God.
Sure. I didn't realize I had that kind of power, but thank you
Do I need to flip
for
off
gifting that
something?
to me.
What is going
I
on?
doubt that's
Like,
gonna be the
no.
answer, but
Right. Okay. You're wrong. No, I'm kidding. I'm leave my light alone.
So can I ask a question, right? Can I ask a question of Yana? So Yana, do you think that with your situation that once you, what do you think that that your situation was that once you acknowledged, say, God's role in all of this, that the deal was brought back to you?
I think it was the acknowledgement of it's not just me. It's not just me and my physical 3D self.
What if
Listen,
it was the
there's
vibration of
something-
the feelings
Look,
that you
this is-
had, though? Because this is the
like-
thing. To me, when I was listening to it, I was like, was that a GPS auto correction so that you're not out there going, I, me, it was all me, but bringing you
Yeah.
more back into like a gratitude type of space. Do you know what I mean?
But Lauren,
you're
I sit
taking
in
away-
gratitude. That's who I am. Hold on. I sit in gratitude. That was the only time in my life I've actually sat there going, I did the thing.
Hey, 10-1.
So let me.
Honestly,
Hold on.
the 10-1, I live this life. Honestly, I have a karmic circle that's 20 seconds long. Like if I think
Yeah.
anything of like, I will just walk into a door. It's like that simple. It'll be two more steps and I will smash my head on something. Like I know that feeling. And genuinely, God or no God, source or no source, to me, it just felt like the words you use were things like self-righteous and prideful.
Mhm.
And I'm like, ooh, okay. And then like what that
It
experience
was like, let's
did
bring in
was
this is-
humble you immediately.
Yes, humility. Exactly.
And then the vibration of humility is a complete, and then it came back. Like I don't know if it even
let me
had
ask you
anything
this,
to do with
but-
some gods playing cards.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
Okay.
So hold on a minute. Because even that, I'm kind of like off center with that. So just hold on a minute. So when this deal came back to you, do you know the reason why this person reconsidered or why they had that? I call it a stutter. Do you know why they had this sort of? It's right. So let me ask you this: Is this a big deal? And I don't mean a big deal emotionally. Is this a big deal physically? This is a big deal. Right.
Yes.
For both you and for the other person.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Okay. So this is huge. If this really works out, this is big. And so the head honcho, you're saying like the head honcho called and said, listen, let's just put a hold on this. I just need to get my head around this. Let's just stop where we are. I just need to just get myself up to speed. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with the other person? Because what I'm saying is that you've gone all the way in the
Nothing.
direction of
Nothing, because hold on, he was fully in. He made the decision. He was in.
Right.
He was in. And then I had this conversation with my mother, took complete ownership of this. And then he was like, hold the brakes. Because there was no reason. It's not like he came back to me and said, the pricing is wrong. The partnership is wrong. This is wrong. No. It just, Yana, we're back on.
Okay,
Right.
so let me ask you something. And so would you say that this deal from the beginning to end, did it go smoothly?
Yes.
Did it flow? Right.
Yeah.
So,
And it was much to my surprise
and do you
how
not think,
easy it was.
right. Do you not think that maybe for this person as well, for somebody being in business, for something to go as smooth as that, sometimes you take a moment and you think, I don't know, you might take a moment and think, this has gone way too smooth. Is there something I'm missing? Do I need to just take a moment here?
I don't think so, but it's not just about that other person, right?
Just talking about business, I have never done that in my freaking life, by the
Ever,
way.
ever.
If anything
Haven't.
ever went smoothly in business, you don't even have the time. You don't even have the time to even think like that.
Think about that.
You're onto something else that isn't going smoothly.
But even if that was the case, that would be about him. My experience would still have been my experience.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm there. Like, you can't convince me otherwise that there was not some kind of external something that was.
Oh,
like,
I'm just trying to. Oh no,
Whatever
no.
that-
I'm not
whatever
trying to
that may
convince
be.
you. I'm just trying to look at what all the different points before I settle back into where I was. That's just
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just God plain.
Yeah, there was
Maybe it was
playing with his
timelines.
rules,
no
really.
reason. See, I don't even know where to go with that anymore. This is where I'm
know.
at.
That was a pissing
Yeah.
contest,
Where I'm
don't you think? That showed up like a big huge pissing contest. No, do I understand what pissing contest is? I do. Was it not that?
Are we still
You've got
talking
bigger
about
balls.
Yeah.
The deal,
All
the
right.
opportunity.
Let's move on. Rachel.
Well, to what I thought it was originally about, which is all of us, and maybe it's just me being a 10-1, the whole
No,
way.
I love
when
it. Let's do
when I
it.
was like, trying hard is overrated, I'm like, I wonder, like, for me personally, I just took it as in, is the effort that, like, if I think I'm a maximum effort person in everything, like, that just is ridiculous. Or not ridiculous, I don't know. That's what I was trying to work out. Like, I thought it was going to be an interesting conversation of whether trying hard literally is overrated or whether it isn't overrated, if you know what I mean. Like,
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I can remember I had a very cathartic session with Darren Weissman once, and I can even remember it was a core-limiting belief, and the core-limiting belief was craving perfection. And I can remember the release in this session. Like, I was howling, crying. He was like reassuring people around me that I was okay, that kind of thing. Anyway, when I got home, I sort of had this realization that, yeah, that had an enormous cost on my life. But at the same time, I got home to my perfect house and
Right.
do you know what I mean? Like, my
Right,
perfect life, my
100%.
perfect garden. And I'm like, and my perfect fridge with all my perfect food. And I'm thinking, you know what? Like, change the vibe rate, but maybe not change the behavior, because you know, your life is working really well. Just try and do it without, I don't know, the force, the insistence, or the push through, or that kind of thing. That's where I honestly thought the conversation was going. And I was thinking, interestingly, you guys know that at this stage in my life, I would believe that I have the least pressure on me at any stage, and I don't feel like I'm trying particularly hard at all. And yet I have shingles for the third time, which is definitely a physical thing. So that's where I thought the conversation was going. So of
but-
whether effort is worth it, or whether it's
yeah,
just
but
going to happen anyway.
But I don't.
I think there's
I was gonna say,
but-
I don't think though that. sorry.
take a number.
Yana.
You up? Okay.
No,
After you, Yana.
okay, fine. Okay. Do you think, though, what the example you're giving, Rachel, there is a difference between your intention and the energy behind everything you do, and then your actual actions? Meaning, like, you have great work ethic. You're a hard worker, right? You're going to put your head down and you're going to get the task done. I am like that too, but there's also people who are so excessive where you're like, oh my God, like, just stop. It's too much. And they're on you and they overgive and they overtry and they're just constantly like, it's almost like this opportunist energy. And I'm not saying that's exclusive, but I will say that when I in business switched from the mindset of I have to get this account, I have to get this account, I have to get to this account, to, you know what, I'm just going to present, and if I get it, I get it, and if I don't, I'll get somebody else. When I switched, it released this energy of this, like, really trying very hard to just same work ethic, same work being presented, but completely released energy of expectation.
But we talk about that because desperation has a low frequency, and the universe will match that. If it's desperation of putting out there, if it's that, oh, I can't, I've got to get it, otherwise I'm just going to die. Well, then the universe will match that. It matches it all day, every day.
I
It
never
doesn't
had
know
that
how to
vibe.
do anything else.
I was never like, don't get me wrong, I was focused on getting accounts, but I know this sounds incredibly arrogant, but it never occurred to me that I wasn't going to get the account.
And there you
I'm
go.
not
And
joking.
that's a
Like,
different
when people would say things to me like, "Oh, this looks really expensive," I'd be saying things like, "Do I look cheap?" You know, like,
No, so what's coming to me, Rachel, and this is, I think it's one of the Bikram quotes that you say, is like, it works until it doesn't. And
Yes.
so absolutely working your butt off for something, yes, it works until it doesn't. Is it impacting your life? Are you content? Are you happy? All of those things. I think it's, so to that extent, someone may be really, really happy to try really, really, really hard for a lot of years, but then when they want to wind down, maybe they can't. So then it's a problem, right? So I'd say that, you know, as with everything, we're each very unique. It has its place until it stops you from being a happy, joyful, content, fulfilled person, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Like, it has its place until it doesn't.
yeah,
And that's okay. Yeah.
it's such a good quote. Thank you for reminding me of that, Lauren. Really,
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the actual
absolutely.
quote? Sorry,
It says
just so
everything
we can-
works and everything works until it doesn't.
Oh, okay, great. Got it
So,
right.
like when you're doing yoga, you'll do something that will work until it doesn't work any longer. But, it'll be some sort of slight adjustment, or how you stand on your feet, or you have more weight in your heels, or something like that. But eventually, that will actually be the thing that holds you back from going to the
but
next
that
step.
doesn't that take out all the stress energy around it?
Right.
Like it worked for me, now it
Mm.
doesn't. It's not that I was
Yeah.
doing the wrong thing. It just doesn't work
Yeah,
for
it
me
worked then.
anymore. It
Yeah.
just takes out all the blame, shame, guilt, whatever else you want to
Mm.
throw in there, and goes, it was working, not working anymore. I'm going to adjust.
Okay, you guys.
posture.
I hate to put a pin in this, but we're gonna have to put a pin in this for next time. If you are still here and you want to join our membership, our collective membership, head on over to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. 30 days free trial. It's got community and live calls and healings and meditations and all sorts of really fun stuff. And we are a part of that package too. If you're interested in a reading, a healing, a guided meditation session, a light body activation, or you want to talk about, I don't know, anything with Rachel, head on over again to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. We thank you for allowing us to create this beautiful space, and we hope you have a blessed day. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
It's another